Hello and welcome to the Rose Rehash. I'm Jared Freid, and I'm going to be here with you 15 minutes after every episode of The Bachelorette. And all you got to do is subscribe to the channel. Just hit that bell, hit that subscription button, and we're going to be here every Tuesday night, 15 minutes after The Bachelor. After The Bachelorette ends. I'm very excited. What we're going to be doing is we're going to do a quick recap of what we just saw. Then I'm going to bring on a very special guest. I'm very excited to have her here. Nicole Lopez-Alvar. I'm pumped to have her. We're going to have a little interview. We're going to talk about the show, her thoughts, the insider's perspective, because I'm like you. I'm some loser yelling at his TV at home. So I'm here let's go inside the mind of someone who's been on the show. And then we will end every episode by giving out roses. I want to give out roses to our favorite people on the episode. It's not who Claire liked, it's who we, the audience, liked. And let's get into the recap. It's recap time. And I have the voice of God. Brandon, you're here with us, right, Brandon? Say hello.
What's up, Jared? It's good to be here. What a great episode.
It's great to have you, Brandon. Look, I can tickle you down here. There you are. Tickle, tickle, tickle. Brandon, did you watch the episode?
I did watch the episode. It was a great episode.
Listen, it was a lot of fun. The first opening episode is always the best because there's just so much happening. You're getting introductions, you're getting Claire, you're getting the people coming out of the limos, the chances that they take, and then you get a little sprinkling of that Bachelorette magic that happens towards the end. So Brandon's here, so if you hear his voice coming in from the voice of God, I'm going to go through the episode. We start out, Chris Harrison comes on to calm a nation. I love when Chris Harrison goes into I'm the president of the United States mode. When Chris Harrison becomes a politician, that's when he's at his best because it's both calming and ridiculous. Like there's a moment where you're like, am I being calmed down by Chris Harrison, the host of The Bachelorette? And he comes on and he goes, we've had a very trying summer. And you're like, yes, we have, Chris Harrison. Thank you. And he comes on to tell us that this season is going to be unlike any other season we've seen. And, in the past, we don't believe that. That we hear that from Chris Harrison. And that's kind of the line that comes out of the Chris Harrison doll when you pull the string. Like him going, this is the most dramatic season ever. We're like, yeah, Chris Harrison, someone's going to cry. But this season, we've all had the most dramatic season ever. Not just so if our lives were dramatic, we have to assume that a quarantine special version of The Bachelorette is going to be dramatic. So I got to assume that like you, I was zoned in. I'm like, okay, what does President Harrison have to say? How is the nation supposed to mourn? How are we supposed to act? Should we wear a mask? I was waiting for Chris to go, wear your mask, socially distanced. So it was nice to hear from Chris. Then we go into Claire. We're going to go to Sacramento, California. We're going to get the moment that Claire finds out that she is, in fact, the Bachelorette, which is always funny because it's staged. Like Claire didn't just get a call while sitting in her room like, hey, is this Claire? I'm Mrs. Producer from ABC. That's not what happens. Claire has an agent. She's been on 4 other reality dating shows that are Bachelor specific. She was on the Bachelor Olympic version. So yeah, Claire has a representative who told her it's between you and, Tayshia to be the Bachelorette. And she's sitting there like, oh. And then they go, hey, the call's coming. We're going to send a camera crew to catch the reaction. So for her to sit there and go, hello? Is it me? It's like, come on. We don't need this. But in Bachelorette fashion, we're going to get the full elaborate Cinderella story. Claire's the 38-year-old who couldn't find love, that told off Juan Pablo and gets the call, and we're like, is it me? So we get that moment with Claire, and we kind of hear about her journey, her going through, The Bachelor, and then The Bachelor, and then being on Bachelor in Paradise and being on the Olympic Games. And then we get the reminder that COVID has rocked the nation, that the quarantine, and what's interesting is that they basically play it up as if Claire's season was ever in doubt. I do not believe that Claire's season was ever in doubt. That was an audience narrative. That was you, the audience, because the audience was never excited about Claire. Let me just tell you that. Claire was never enough for this audience. Claire was never old enough. She was never diverse enough. She was never popular enough on Instagram. So she really didn't have a group behind her chanting her name. So so people, when they got the chance to kick Claire out, admit it, when you got the chance to be like, hey, we can get rid of this fucking Claire chick that we didn't really know, and we can get someone else in there. People kind of overreacted like, oh, Claire's not going to get her season. She got her season. So The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, they're the smartest producers in the world. They know how to make a show. And they were like, okay, we'll play this up. Maybe the season was never going to happen. You know what was never going to happen? ABC wasn't going to just cut loose one of its cash cows. That wasn't going to happen. ABC was like, yeah, we're going to do a bubble like the NBA, and we're going to make sure our moneymaker keeps making fucking dough. That's what happens. So they play into the storyline, the will they, won't they. Then they bring Claire on the recap show that they've been doing. They have a moment where Chris goes, Claire, we're taping in 2 days. And first of all, okay, if that was me and they were like, Jared, I know you've been in quarantine for 3 weeks. I know you've been doing nothing but sitting on the couch and drinking alcohol and eating cookies. And I know you haven't wore pants with a belt in a month. But listen, we're taping tomorrow. I'd be like, shut the fuck up. I'd be like, no, I can't. Give me 3 weeks. I need to starve myself. I'd literally be spitting pasta out onto the table to get rid of it out of my body. I would literally have to go on a Dalai Lama cleanse. So the idea that Claire, they're like, we're doing it 3 days. And Claire's like, oh my God. Yeah. As if any of us would be like, oh, really? We're going to do it? No, she was on her Peloton for 6 hours a day getting ready, just like any of us would. So we're going to go to the hotel. We're going to see what they're going to do. They're going to quarantine all the men on the premises of the hotel. The hotel, okay, I did say that ABC makes a lot of money on this. They didn't seem to splurge on the hotel. They're like, here's your La Quinta, boys. Like, you're going to be staying at an old nursing home in Florida. Like, this place looks like it was built in the 1970s and no one has ever been there since. It looks literally haunted. It looks like where they should be filming the next, like some horror movie where a bunch of college kids get a cheap, vacation to go to Playa del Carmen. It is not very inviting. They go around all the rooms and they kind of go to the dudes to see what their quarantine, their 2 weeks alone at the hotel's been like. That's my favorite part. They go to these guys and they're like, I've been just sitting in this room, as if they didn't leave the room. That's crazy. That's not what happened. They go to each room. Hello, we're going to do your interview now. We've slipped the meal under the door. And they're like, oh, I'm just sitting here shirtless, just doing trap workouts. It's like, no, dude, we don't need you. Every dude that had a good body, whenever a producer showed up, they're like, hello, knock, knock. We're going to interview you for the pre-entrance part. And they're like, yeah, hold on. And then they take off their shirt and start doing crunches. And they're like, yeah, just this is what I do all day. So they interview all the guys. Then we get their journey. We get to find out how they're spending this quarantine. We get to have a moment. Us, me, fat on the couch, gets to be like, oh, look at, they quarantine just like me. Now, then we're going to do the entrances. Before we get to the entrances, there's a moment where Claire and Chris have a moment together. They're going to talk about how much this means to Claire, how much, what she'd been doing these last 7 years since she told off Juan Pablo. Has she started a support group? So we get into this, and Claire has a very impassioned speech where she talks about what she's learned. And I gotta say, Claire kind of spoke for the country. Not a lot of us are very optimistic anymore. Like, not a lot of us are like, hey, I'm just waiting to become a millionaire. A lot of us are like, gonna follow my dreams. Claire's like, my attitude is I just show up. And I gotta say, that spoke to me. That's kind of how I'm living my life right now. Claire spoke for the country better than most of our public figures. Claire was like, you just gotta show up. You gotta show up. Whatever you do, just show up. It might be a failure. You might not find love. You might die alone. You might never touch another person again. You might not have to be able to take off the mask. Just show up. And I was literally in my home going, show up 2020. Voting for Claire for president. Hashtag show up. So now we're done with Claire's moment. We're all convinced Claire is a powerful woman. Again, we know. And now we're going to get the entrances. Now, the entrances are always my favorite part of the show because a few of them just go out and they're like, I'm going to be me. This is what it is. We see a very diverse group of men, more diverse than we've probably ever seen on this show, which is great. We got my favorites. Bennett was just, I'm going to be a rich guy. Like, I love that entrance because it wasn't far-fetched for him. You can see that there are some people that do a costume that shouldn't do a costume. The straitjacket guy should have just went with his personality, because what the costume does to these people is it shows how little personality you have. If you can't play into the character that you're trying to do when you get out of the limo, it doesn't work when you get in the house. So straitjacket guy comes out and he's like, and at first I thought, okay, he's a magician. That's what I thought. I thought he's going to do a Harry Houdini and he's going to pop out of this straitjacket and we're going to make fun of him for being a magician and how much that, women just aren't into that. And we're going to, I'm going to call him David Blaine for the rest of his life. And I thought that was what it was going to be. He does it. He just goes up there and goes, I'm crazy for you. And then just keeps walking. And it's like, dude, you didn't even do the bit. And it's like, at that point, I'm taking off the straitjacket going, okay, we got to make a comeback here. I got to introduce myself for real now. But he didn't do that. And then he just kept it on the whole night. So it's like, this happens every season. Someone tries to be funny guy or tries to be creative guy when they're not that. Bennett, Richie Rich with the scarf and the Bentley Rolls Royce, like that, you go, all right, believe it. I know it. It's memorable, hilarious. So it is interesting, these limo entrances, and I'm going to ask Nicole later about her limo entrance. I want to know what she did, what she thought of, what the plan was. I want to know the inside scoop, but I love the limo entrances. It tells you everything about the person. That's where we meet Dale. Now, I don't read spoilers. Please don't send me spoilers. I know that Dale is going to be a central character of the show. They did it. They spoiled it already. They basically gave us a prelude that Dale's the guy because Dale gets out of the limo and Claire, basically has an out-of-body a moment, not to make fun of her age, but it looked like a hot flash. She's like, oh, Dale. And you're like, it's like it felt like they had met before, and then Dale walks away, and Claire kind of does the thing that a lot of women do, and I know a lot of women do it because I've been to 1,000 weddings, and at every wedding, a friend gets up and goes, Claire told me that he was the one. And that's where Chris Harrison is the best in the game, because Chris Harrison hears Claire say, I think I just met my husband. And he goes, did you just say? Chris Harrison is every maid of honor. Did you just say he might be the one? And it's like, he's like taking notes for the montage he wants to write at the end of her show. And it's like, now we're all kind of in the loop of like, Dale's the guy. And so Dale walks away and we could all feel it. She has a meeting with Chris And then the next guy has to come out and be like, hey, I'm Dave. And then she's like, Dale? And it's like, no, that was the guy before me. I'm Dave. You know, like she has to like fake like she didn't just fall in love. Claire also on the entrances. I want to go back. Claire on the entrances is one of the funniest entrance leads I've ever seen. After every entrance, she acted like everyone's suburban mom. Like the guy would walk away and she'd be like, oh, I like Tom. Tom's a good guy. Oh, Tom. You know who I always liked? I always liked Tom. You know, like she did that for every guy. Oh, he squeezed my hand pretty hard. But, you know, I like Andrew. Like, he's like, hi, I'm Andy. She's like, good for you, Andrew. Love that about Claire. Now, we're going to go into the house. We've done the entrances. That's when Claire does a new thing. She brings out her 2 dogs, which I've never seen that on the show. She brings her dogs to the house to stay with her. Great. The dog thing, I think, might come up at some point because people with dogs are very serious about how you pet their dog. Like, if I was in that house and I, like, didn't bend... Like if I did the standing pet where I didn't bend at the knees and I didn't give a shit, because I wouldn't give a shit about her dog. I'd be like, yeah, get the fucking dog out of here. Is it gonna shit in the hallway? Like I want to make sure, is this dog trained? And then I would assume that someone with a dog would be like, Jared, no rose for you. You weren't nice to Rufus. Gonna have to get you out of here. So the dogs do add an element. Now, we come to the house. Claire's, you know, dancing around the house. She's meeting all the guys, and then we find out Tyler C has received information about Yosef. Tyler C is the guy with the same name as the guy you wish was on the show. Tyler C is, you can tell, very Southern. He's a good-looking dude, blonde guy. Tyler C is like, I got information, and he brings that information to Claire. Claire says. Claire, you can tell, is a pro. She's like, let's nip this in the bud. Let's get this out. And Claire is now kind of in producer mode. She's like, okay, you have information. Who's it about? I'm going to sit one on each side, and we're going to hash this out because now we can fill 10 minutes. Claire, good on Claire. That's, I'm sure, part of the reason the Bachelor producers love her. So she gets Yosef on one side, Tyler on the other side. Now, let me tell you, as a Bachelorette Bachelor fan, the guy or girl, the woman who tells on someone never does well. The person that tells on someone, they end up getting outed as this person that is there for drama. If I were Tyler C, I would have held on to that a little bit longer. And there is a point where you go, well, she would say, you would have lied to me. You should have told me. Nah, dude, you had flimsy information, and you knew it was flimsy because Claire sits on the chair and she goes, who did you hear from? And he goes, I heard from a woman that she got a good morning video from Yosef. And Claire asks a very good question. She goes, how do you know the woman? Because at that point, Tyler has to explain, yeah, I'm answering my DMs too. Like, because Tyler, his answer is so ridiculous, so male, so funny. He goes, she works at a bar in my hometown. It's like, Tyler, dude. You just, now this isn't someone you know. You just came here with half-assed information that you can't really nail this guy on. So now she has to decide between which dude she believes, and she just met them both. So Tyler's fucked. Yosef is a little bit fucked, but also Yosef is elevated because she's only talked to 10 guys that night. So now all she knows about Yosef is that he's a good-looking guy that women want to DM and want good mornings from. So he kind of elevated Yosef's status while lowering his own. Then we get done with that whole scenario. Dale gets the first impression rose, of course. We go to the rose ceremony, and men get sent home. We don't, it's too early in the show to say that we really lost anyone good. The Tyler C versus Yosef face-off ends with Yosef winning and staying. It also ends with Tyler C getting sent home. And that's our first episode, a fun first episode, a great first episode. Claire, the COVID element was a lot of like interesting points. Let's go to our first ever guest on the Rose Rehash. I'm very excited that she would do this. She has a new podcast that is premiering. I think it's called, I'm going to let her name, I don't want to give away the name, but I'm so excited. She's so fantastic. She's great. Nicole Lopez-Alvar, thank you for coming on. I did. I wanted
before COVID.
Pre-COVID. It's great to have you. It's great to see you. I'm so excited you would do this. I see your stuff on Instagram. You're killing it. Everyone go follow Nicole if you're not already at Nicole Lovar. Go. And you got a podcast coming out. Tell the people about your podcast.
Yes. So I have Black Beans and Rice. It's my new podcast with one of my best friends from the show, Sydney. So that's
I know Sydney.
Yes. Oh my gosh, she told me. No,
Yeah.
She loves you. Like we were just talking about you right now. She's like, oh my God, Jared, you memorized the entire episode. Like we were in shock right now that you're so like you have the names down. I'm like,
I've been studying.
Do it. You've been studying.
This is my time of year. This is when I work overtime. This is when my girlfriend hates me most.
Where is she right now? Hiding?
She's in the background scowling at me. She's making a quesadilla. So listen, Nicole, I want to ask you, can you tell us about your limo night? I want to hear your experience, what happens. I also want to know, what did you do when you came out of the limo?
Okay. Honestly, like you think you have so many options, but immediately a producer is like, okay, I have ideas for you. And like they're immediately telling you like, okay, you're either doing this or this, choose, you have 5 minutes. Like
really?
It's like that quick, yes.
So it's like, so they open up a costume closet and they're like, get in there and fucking put something on?
But then like only certain people, you can't have everyone in a costume. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, not everyone gets, so like if you're the lucky 3, like who they want to be in costumes, that's it. No one else.
Why? How do they choose that? Like, did you ever find out like who got costume?
Right? No, it's not fair. No, so I'm sitting there just as stunned as you are right now. You know what I mean? Like
wow.
I'm in the dark. I thought my Havana, I came out with a line from like Camila Cabello. I thought that was gonna be a huge hit. Like damn, like I nailed it. And then obviously you start watching like a stupid horse carriage roll by. You start seeing like police sirens. I'm like, my producer, like you never told me this. Like you know what I mean?
kept thinking of that guy Bennett who came out with the scarf and he's in the Rolls Royce or the Bentley. And it's like, did someone go up to him and be like, hey, you look rich and you went to Harvard. We're going to fucking do this. Like, is that what it is?
I'm jealous because he has that awesome clip for life. He's obviously going to share that. You know what I mean? He looks good. Like, I have a stupid memory. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I said, like, Havana. Like, in 10 years, it's not going to be funny or make sense. Like,
and you don't get, like, and I guess there's an element of, like, you don't get the boomerang. You don't get the throwback Thursday. You don't get, like, the fun video of you on a horse, yippee-ki-yay, that type of shit.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
See? Is there, when you're in the house, you get out of the limo and you're just waiting there, have you met the other women yet? Have you not met them?
No, I mean, like, no, you haven't met anyone. Like, you're that shocked. The way, like, that's the realest moment. Like, the way those men are reacting is probably the most genuine, raw. They've never been on TV before. You know what I mean? These men are really, like, brand spanking new. Like, that's how I felt. That's why I started like freaking crying at the end. I wasn't actually crying. It was 7 a.m. I'm like, why did I apply to this? Like, why did I think this was going to be an amazing idea? Like, why did I think I'd stand out? Because I'm not standing out.
Well, I guess that, it's funny, like, because, I am definitely someone who's made fun of the people for crying, for getting sent home that first night. But I guess what you're saying makes sense. You're like, it's more tears of like, what the fuck am I doing here?
What the fuck am I doing? Mm-hmm.
And like I've made a lot of risks. I've left my job at that point, like
exactly.
Yeah.
And then I'm like defending people, and then there's producers involved, and they're like talking to you, like, and there's some people saying I quit. Like there's people who are already kind of like they didn't get to talk to the girl, or like I bet you someone didn't talk to Claire, or like something happened, and like, so you're seeing it all. You're seeing the drama that's not even being shown.
It is interesting because now you're thinking, I would assume, what will people think of me? I've told people this is what I'm doing. I've taken the selfies from the flight. Like this was gonna be a big thing, and now it's like, holy fuck! I've had that. I remember I did a TV show once, and I remember like being midway through the taping going, I'm bombing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weird feeling because you're like, hold it together.
True. oh. No, and then even like weeks before that, you're on that plane going to LA or something, thinking like it's gonna change my life. Like I'm so prepared. Obviously, your friends are like rooting for you, and then like you're finally on TV and you're like a whole mess. You're drinking, like you're eating the snacks, like that pop. You know, like they're all talking about the food, and they're all because it's like you almost I don't even know you can't an insane couple of hours, especially that first night.
Your internet's going on us, Nicole. We're losing you a little bit. You there?
You hon. Let's see if I can get a better internet situation. Hold on.
Brandon, you there for us?
I'm always here, Jared.
We're going to try and find a better internet situation
Let's find it.
for Nicole. This is live, people. Every Tuesday, 15 minutes after the Bachelorette, we're going to come to you live. There's going to be tech difficulties. There's going to be recaps. This is what it's all about. You're getting it all. This is behind the scenes madness. Nicole, you with us? She's going to have to change her plan. Time Warner really killed us here. Now listen, people. We're gonna try and get Nicole back, but I'm. This is all insider stuff. I understand what she's saying. I get it. You're like, this is my moment. This is where I'm going for my 100K Instagram followers. This is where I'm going to get my whole world changed upside down. And then you're at the whim of one person being like, would you like to talk about my family? And it's like, what do you do? I can totally understand that. You could see at the end of this episode, all the men were sitting there being like, what? I didn't even get to talk to her. And she apologized, but like, boo-hoo. Now you're at the whim of like, I guess I'll go with straitjacket guy. Let's give out some awards. Let's go to the awards section. I call these the Batchies. Let's do the Batchies. So on this segment, we're going to close out every episode by I'm going to give out 3 roses, as you can see right here. I'm going to give out 3 roses, and I'm going to give out 3 divorce papers. The divorce papers go to the people that we'd really like to get a divorce from on this show. The roses go to the people that we would give roses to. Do we understand the premise here? I'm going to start with the roses. And I'm going to start, Dale's got to get the first rose. I mean, he literally made a woman come from looking at him. I mean, that's insane. I kind of want to meet Dale just to see if it gives me a reaction. Like, I want to meet Dale so I can go like, what is it? Like, some people just have that glow, and Dale must have it. Some people have that thing where you go, oh, you got the it factor. And Dale seems to have it. He's a good-looking guy, but it's not like he came out of the limo and wowed us with his personality. He literally just looked her in the eyes, and she was like, oh. I mean, it looked like she just got into a cold bathtub after he left. So Dale's going to get my first rose. I got to give my second rose to Bennett. Bennett just nailed it. Nailed the look. Nailed the character. From minute 1, he's Harvard guy, to minute last. It's just so good when someone is the thing you need them to be. My last rose, I'm going to give it to Easy. Easy's going to get it because, first of all, I want to fit into that suit that he wore. He went with like a salmon, red raspberry, it looked like raspberry chip ice cream. He looked amazing in that suit. I love the cut. He was energy all the way. There's a character every season that is like the producer guy. He's going to move storyline. He's going to be the guy that looks at the camera and goes, and so then that night we went to dinner. Like, he's going to be that guy. I think Easy's going to be our glue guy. He's going to be the guy that everyone loves. He's going to be the guy moving show along. Easy is going to be in our lives for a long time. You're hearing it here first on the Rose Rehash. Now let's go. Let's give out some divorce papers. These are the people that we just need to get rid of. And listen, I know he's gone already, but Tyler C. Tyler C is going to get the first set of divorce papers. He made the biggest mistake you could make on The Bachelor. You don't, and this is kind of a lesson for life. You don't want to be a bigger problem than you are a solution. So if you complain at work, you better have a real fucking complaint. You better have a complaint that can be fixed, that can be worked on, that can be, and Tyler, his complaint wasn't big enough to go to the boss with. And that's why he got sent home. And you know what? It drags, it gets exhausting. And you're lying to us, Tyler C. When you say, I heard some information and I just want to protect Claire's feelings, you just met the chick 10 minutes ago. You're not really that concerned with her feelings. You're concerned with staying on the show. You got your moment, but you're not going to get another moment because the snitch never stays on the show. So Tyler C., you're out. Our next set of divorce papers, I'm going to give it the straitjacket guy. I know Nicole just told us that the producers come to you with a costume, but at a certain point, you have to know who you are. You have to know, I'm not going to be able to out-personality the straitjacket. I don't have the personality to go with straitjacket. The only reason he kept it, I'm sure, and he did stay on the show, he did get a rose. I don't know if we can bring Nicole, we're going to bring you back on. Is Nicole back there? Did we fix it? Now we can't hear you. Nicole.
I'm
back.
muted?
There we go. We did it. So when they give, do you think that there's any chance that they give the guy with the straitjacket?
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving out my award section. I gave out roses tonight to Dale, Bennett, and Easy.
Okay. All right.
And now I'm giving out divorce papers. The divorce papers have gone to Tyler C.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy who brings up the drama, you have to have good enough drama to be able to bring it up, right?
And his name is Tyler C. Like, come on, that's just like I read a tweet. It was like that's defamation to the other Tyler C. Like,
I know, and it's like, how do you follow Michael Jordan? Like, you can't do it. Like, it's like we're gonna be thinking of a better guy the whole time we see.
That's why, like a Michael B. Jordan, he needs that little initial in there. We need something to differentiate the Tyler C's. 100%.
I wrote that in my preview. I was like, you should have gone by Tyler FC and then been like, it's like football club. And then Claire would have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. But at least it would have been memorable.
Exactly.
So,
no, being memorable is everything, honestly.
That's everything.
I have no idea.
So that's why I want to bring up the straitjacket guy. The straitjacket guy showed no personality that could match the straitjacket. Do you think he gets a deal? Is there a thing where they go, put the straitjacket, we're giving you straitjacket, but we'll guarantee you get past that first night?
100%, 100%. Because they have to like you a little bit. The producers probably like him enough to even give him like a role in the show. Like the fact that he's the guy in the straitjacket means that he stood out to the producers enough to they had to try. They had to give him a costume, something that fit him. They had to ask him hey, does that fit? Like, are you good? Are you good in that costume all night? That if they don't like you, you're going to know it. They're not going to show you on TV. You're not going to pop up even in a little clip. Like you're going to be and you're going to watch it with your whole family and realize that you're not even on the screen. And that happens. That's when you know you fucked up. Like you were a bitch to producers. You know that happens.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Like if
do you know people
bad
that happened to?
Like, what?
Do you know people that happened to?
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
So they were
like those first round people, the people who get kicked out the earliest, some of them barely make it on TV, even though they were memorable in real life. But if you could tell, if the producers they didn't have a good relationship with you,
interesting,
or good back and forth,
So they're saying basically, the straitjacket, the costume is basically like an award for being easy to work with.
Yeah, 100%. If that means you're a puppet, you're kind of you're easy to mess around with, you're willing to do things, and once the producers catch on that you're willing to go along with jokes and being the joke, they're like, okay, let's keep them, see what we could do next week.
See, the problem is, if I was ever on the show, I'd be like, yeah, give me a clown outfit. I will make balloon animals. I don't
No,
give
you'd
a
be
fuck.
you would kill it. Like if
No,
you were saying, like you'd be hilarious.
I thank you. I do think the straitjacket guy, it's interesting because you're giving me a new perspective I never would have had. You're
It
right.
changes, yes. Like Demi Burnett. Like there's some characters that in real life I was like, wait, Colton and Demi? You know what I mean? I was like, wait, what am I getting wrong here? But then you get to know Demi and you're like, oh my God, like she's hilarious. She's easy to work with. Producers love her. Like there's something like nice, like
And
you know what I mean?
There's a lesson for that where it's like, if you're game, you're good. Like, I'm game. Whatever you say, I'm down. And there's an
I'm not
element
gonna
of
lie,
that.
I was kind of like that, which is why in Paradise, if you saw like Bachelor in Paradise, I was on every date. I was jumping, I was zip lining in Mexico. Obviously,
Yeah.
they had other girls to choose, and I was even like, why'd you choose me? Like, I'm not even popular. I'm not Hannah G. I don't have 1 million followers. Like, why me? Like, you know, and they were like, dude, we love you. Shut up. Like,
Yeah, they want to spend the day with you ziplining.
Exactly. Yeah, they just want to work with their friends because they're all in their 30s. They're all late 20s. All the producers are the coolest people. Like, I love all of them. This makes
total sense.
Yeah,
That's why there was the rumor that producer was dating Colton.
Yeah, I almost forgot about that, but yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
So, and then people were looking at her Instagram, and it's like, yeah, it's possible for you to become friends with the producer. They don't treat you like zookeepers. They're not like tasering you.
Exactly, and they're not in their 50s. They're not like a teacher. Like, they're not like this outdated person. They're literally like recent college grads, some of them. Like, they all went to similar schools. Like, some of you might even have like
producers are cool
connections or something.
What's funny about that, it's like the first time you have a doctor your own age. You're like,
so true.
Real people do these jobs.
Yes.
Well, Nicole, thank you for your insight. This was amazing.
You're welcome.
Thank you for moving around and finding us some good internet.
I know. This might
let people know about I want everyone to go follow you on Instagram at Nicole Lavar if you don't already.
Thank you.
Your podcast. Let people know. What are you doing on your podcast? Are you doing Bachelor, Bachelorette stuff?
Yes. So our podcast with Sydney is called Black Beans and Rice, and it's Black Beans and Rice because I'm Cuban. She's half Asian. So, of course, I thought of the name, and I was like, brilliant. Like,
perfect.
Perfect. And I love food, so it's, like, too perfect. And we're
going to post great food stuff.
Thank you. No, I don't even know. I don't know why. It's just become a thing, and I can't stop now. And, like, people expect it. They send me weird Oreo things all day, like, proud of you. And I'm like, I have to answer like, haha. But
you gotta get a PO box so people can just send a million things at once.
So true. No, it's like it's out of control. So it's gonna be about like a little bit of culture, like food. We even sometimes throw in politics because like, you know, we're trying to be like a different type of Bachelor podcast. We don't want to just talk about the Bachelor.
Listen, nobody's talking about politics right now. Everyone needs somewhere to find that. So,
exactly. Yeah, shut up. I know you're being sarcastic.
So. Listen, Black Beans and Rice. Go listen to Nicole's podcast. Thank you so much for coming on, Nicole. Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Thank you, Jared. It's always a pleasure every time.
Always a pleasure. Listen, people, we're going to give out one more divorce paper, and then we're going to end the show. I want to thank you for watching. Thank you for being a part of the Rose Rehash, the first ever episode. We're going to be here every Tuesday, recapping, guests. We're giving out roses. We're giving out divorce papers. The last set of divorce papers goes to Yosef. Yosef got called out on the. Here's why Yosef stinks. It's because he was caught doing good morning texts. If you're doing good morning videos and good morning texts, you're like 30 years behind the texting, flirting game. We all know that can be sent to 30 different people at once. We all know a good morning text is a really good way to fake intimacy with someone over text. If you're saying good morning beautiful to someone, dude, you need to stop. You need to be off this show. You shouldn't be an example for anyone. Get him out of here. Serve him his papers again because he's already been divorced, I think, once. Listen, Brandon, what do we think? We did it. You there, Brandon?
Hell yeah, we did it, Jared. You and me and Nicole.
I can't even hear you. Did we hear you?
You can't hear me.
That's the Rose Rehash. We're going to be here every Tuesday after The Bachelor. We'll be back next week. Share this with a friend. Like it. Subscribe. Get involved. Boom.